You're gonna come sit, Zig? Alright, drop. Come on, again, drop. Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today is the start of a very different type of video, and it is a series where I'm going to be talking about books. What are you sniffing? I very recently got back into reading. I had not read for a very long time, and I mean I would read like one book a year maybe for the past, like, when did I finish high school? I reckon year 10 and 11 I was really into reading. It's when John Green was all the rage, and I used to just read his books. Like, I read all of his books within the space of like 6 months and just absolutely loved reading at that point. And then year 12 hit, and I'm pretty sure that's when I just like basically stopped reading. Like, I loved like Perks of Being a Wallflower and all of John Green's books and Every Day by David Levithan, like those sort of coming of age stories, which I really enjoyed. And then, I don't know, once finishing school, I just never really read very often. I was very busy. I then was at uni for a little while, and then since buying the house, I always feel like there's something else I should be doing instead of reading. Like, I just feel like, I don't know, I've just always felt like I should be, like, there's always something to do in the house, basically. There's always things I can be doing. There's always something else I should be doing, as opposed to wasting my time reading. But since having Harper, Harper is my little 6-month-old daughter, if you are new to my channel. Since having her, I have really wanted to focus on reading again and getting some of that time back for myself. And in doing that, I bought a Kindle. Now, I'm not going to say Kindles are the best thing ever, because I do really love a physical book. I love the smell of physical books. I love looking in bookshops. I love having a physical book. But for my lifestyle, this Kindle has literally given me the freedom to get back into reading. So if you are in a bit of a slump, I do really recommend a Kindle, but I do know it's not for everyone. Ziggy, no. I do know a Kindle is not for everyone, because most of us really like a physical book. But this has came in handy for me in many ways. I can read when I'm feeding, even in the night. Because it has a backlight, I can read without having to turn a light on, so I can read whilst feeding her in the night. I wish I had got it when she was first born, like when I was literally feeding constantly. See? No. And so I wanted to talk about a few books that got me back into reading when I got the Kindle. Now, I got the Kindle Unlimited subscription, which I highly recommend. It doesn't have many new books on, but it does have a lot of the authors that I have been reading. So I have found it really good. I found a few books that I really liked from there. It's like $13 a month, and you get thousands and thousands of books basically at your fingertips. But that's enough about the Kindle. It's not what this is about. This is about the books I read, which got me back into reading after having what I would say is like a 10-year hiatus from reading. So, the first book I read was Heartbones by Colleen Hoover. Now, you will see a recurring theme with Colleen Hoover, because I just feel like our age and well, my age, I should say, I'm 25. My age, this demographic, she is just perfect. Also, sipping on some tea. I think I'm going to have tea every time I do a book video. So I'm drinking peppermint tea right now. Yes, Colleen Hoover. Holy moly. She is like the perfect author to get back into reading. I would recommend generally not knowing what her story is about if you're going to read them. Except, I feel like a couple of them need to come with a trigger warning. Because there is like some very intense themes in her books sometimes. But I like not knowing what her stories are about when I start reading them. But Heartbones, it was so incredible. It's about this girl called Bea, and her mum recently passes away due to an overdose, and she goes and lives with her dad. She hasn't seen her dad really in years, has nothing really to do with him, but goes and stays with him because basically she's going to be homeless and needs somewhere to stay for the couple months before she starts college. So she goes and stays with her dad and his like new wife and her like stepsister, and meets this guy while she's there for the summer, and he is just really interesting and has, like, they just fall for each other, but he has some secrets and stuff, and I don't even know how to explain it. I don't want to spoil the story or anything, but it was just amazing. Like, I read that book within like 3 days, and this is after not reading for a very long time, and it was just incredible. Like, the relationship dynamics between her and her dad, and her and this new sister, and then this guy, and his sort of like backstory, and I just can't even explain it. It was just incredible, and just a perfect book to get me back into reading. After that, I read a book by Kim Holden. Now, I never really hear Kim Holden be spoke about really, but it was recommended by a friend of mine, and she literally said, this book changed my life. And I was like, hook me up. And it is called Brightside. Brightside is about a girl called Kate, and she is just starting college. She has a friend Gus, and he is a musician and is around touring, and they have been best friends forever and ever and ever. And the start of the story is that they were like on their phone, and they had recently slept together and was sort of like, oh, that was a bit awkward, we're best friends, let's move on from that. We are only friends, but that was like the best night ever, basically. She gets a job, starts working at this florist, absolutely loves it. Kate then starts going to this coffee shop, and she meets a guy called Keller. Now, she's basically said to herself, I do not want to fall in love with anyone, I am not interested in a boyfriend, blah blah blah. But this guy Keller just gets her. Now, they start seeing each other. They, again, fall pretty hard pretty fast. And then something quite big is discovered. Now, again, I'm not here for spoilers, so I don't want to spoil what the plot ends up being. But holy shit, my heart. Whew. I really, really lost it in this book. Now, it honestly grabbed me from the first page, and I just can't explain it. Like, the way Kim Holden writes and the way the book was, like, you see it from Kate's perspective and also Keller's perspective, which I really love as well. Like, there's two, like, sometimes when they're together it'll be his perspective, sometimes when they're together it'll be her perspective. So I find it really interesting to see both sides of the story, which I really like in a book. I like to hear two people's point of view, and it was just really, really good. Very, very heartbreaking, but very, very beautiful. She then does have another book that follows on from it called Gus. I haven't read that yet, but I assume it will give some closure on some certain topics which happen in Brightside. So I would highly, highly recommend Brightside by Kim Holden. The next book I read, which got me into reading again, excuse you, no, Regretting You, another Colleen Hoover book, and I really liked this, and I don't think it gets enough praise. I don't see that many people talking about it, if I'm completely honest, but I really liked it. It was like a mother-daughter situation, so some of the perspective was from the mum and some was from the daughter, which I found really, really interesting. I enjoyed being able to see sort of both situations. There was sort of two, there was two There were sort of two different storylines happening at the same time, but then obviously they intertwined at the same time because they are mother and daughter. So it was really, really interesting to see sort of their relationships. As always, something really, really big happens, and it was really interesting to see how both of them dealt with that situation. And yeah, I just would highly, highly recommend as well. Another one that I read within like 3 days, I think. Colleen Hoover has a lot of free books on the Kindle, so I really have just gone ham. I think when you find an author whose writing style you really, really enjoy, it's hard to not just want to binge all of their stories. So the next one I read was another Colleen Hoover, Too Late, and it was so good. Again, I just devoured it. Like, I don't know. I really will, I promise not all of my reviews and book videos will be all Colleen Hoover, but she's pretty much she as an author has pretty much got me back into reading. So I just sort of devoured a few of her books all at once. But Too Late was really, really interesting. It was about this girl, her name is Sloane, and she's sort of stuck in this relationship because although she gets taken advantage of by this guy, Arthur, ASA is his name. I'm going to say Arthur. She is taken advantage of him so much, but he literally puts a roof over her head, and he is the reason that she can go to school, like university. So she kind of feels trapped with him, but it's just all very interesting. He has like this drug circle situation and sells drugs, and she really disapproves of that, but again, she knows that that's what's putting the roof over her head, and she, yeah, just really feels trapped in this relationship. And then she meets this guy, and she meets him at school. They have just like a friendship. He becomes friends with her boyfriend, and you know, she obviously tries to sort of avoid him. She's in a relationship, and they have this really weird connection, and they have these conversations, and again, you see both sides of the story. So half the story is from Sloane's perspective and half is from Carter's perspective, so it's super interesting as well. And then you also see things from Asa's perspective as well. So yeah, it's just a super interesting story, and I can't say too much because then it just spoils the like plot line. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but literally all of these books I would say are like 5-star reads. I do have a bit more of a list of books that I would recommend. Basically, I had not read a book since January. I had read one book in January. It was The Return by Nicholas Sparks, which I did really love. I cannot remember what it's about now, but I loved it. I didn't read another book until October of 2021, and I then read 9 books between October and December. So yeah, I definitely had a big change in pace. So after Too Late, I then read It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. If you haven't heard the whole internet talk about it, it is amazing. I would give a trigger warning to that one though, because it does include domestic violence. I then read Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover, which I would also do a trigger warning to. I don't really know even what the trigger warning would be, but if you're a parent, I would, just a trigger warning for parents is my, without giving away the story, if you have a baby, just, yeah. I then read Never Never by Colleen Hoover and Taryn Fisher. This one was a lot different. It was a bit more like, not quite as realistic, but it was really good and I would still highly recommend. I then read All of It by Kim Holden, which was also incredible. I highly recommend that. So they are all the books that I read in between October and December. Obviously, these are all books that I found incredible. I would highly recommend all of them. I will be doing more of like a book review style on the books I'm reading in January, and we'll try and explain things a little bit better. I have now started making notes of the books that I'm reading so that I can sort of go back a little bit more and remember the storylines a bit better, because when you read constantly, I kind of forget like the important details of the books I've already read. But I just feel like I've read so many incredible books the last few months and I just can't recommend them enough, and I just need to talk about it. So I hope you enjoyed my first book related video. I know it was probably a little bit messy, a little bit all over the place. I promise I will get more structure to these sorts of videos, but I just needed to word vomit my thoughts on the books that I read in 2021, mainly because we're already halfway through January, so I'm already on book 3 for this year, and I need to focus on these books that I'm reading now and write about the ones that I've currently been reading. And I just didn't want to start my 2022 books without acknowledging all of the amazing books I did read in 2021, because they truly got me back into reading. And I just think as a person, as a mum, being able to read and sort of just escape the world and be in some other universe is just incredible. My TBR list is very big for this year. I do have a goal to read 50 books in 2022. And I'm on book 3 so far, and I currently have 67 books on my TBR. So feel free to let me know what your all-time favorite book is, bearing in mind all of the Colleen Hoover books are on my TBR. I'm also on my second one by her this year already, and her new book comes out this week, so January might look a little bit Colleen Hoover heavy, but I do have so many books that I'm really excited to look into. I have been following some new book Instagrammers, and I have been watching Rachel Catherine's book videos, and I highly recommend them. She's really good at explaining things well. I definitely feel like a rookie on my book explanations currently, but I feel like the more I do this, the better it will get. So bear with me. This is a new type of video that I'm creating. It's also a new topic that I have just become sort of really interested in the past few months, and I don't have many people around me that read or read the same books as me, so I just really would love to connect to other people who are doing a lot of reading this year. I would love to hear what your favorite book of all time is, so that I can add that to my list. That's how I've got my list so far, is I just asked on Instagram what people's top book were, and I got so many recommendations. So feel free to leave yours below and I'll add it to my TBR list. And I'm going to have to stop rambling now because I've been talking for so long, but I promise these videos will get more structured. I just wanted to start off by giving some appreciation to the books I did read in 2021 before I really knuckled down and ticked off 50 books for 2022 and reviewed them all properly for you this year. Thank you so much for watching this video. Feel free to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you would love to see more of this content. Besides book videos, I also vlog every week and do have some mum related videos upcoming as well. So I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you in my next video, which will be very soon. Bye.